Imagine feeling like you're swimming against a tide. No matter how hard you try, you're barely making progress towards financial freedom. That's no accident. Banks have a secret weapon to keep you in debt, and it's something called anchoring. But what is this mysterious force, and how is it keeping you stuck? First, let's talk about the art of anchoring. Anchoring is a cognitive bias that influences our decision-making process. Ever walked into a store and seen an item that's marked down from an exorbitant price, making the sale price seem like a steal? That's anchoring in action. The initial high price sets a mental benchmark or an anchor, and everything else is compared to that standard. Now, while this might just prompt you to buy a sweater you don't need, banks use a similar tactic in far more impactful ways. When it comes to finances, anchoring can drastically affect how we perceive costs, interest rates, and debt. You might think you're making a rational decision when you choose a loan or a credit card, but often your choices have already been swayed by those first numbers you see. Banks cleverly use anchoring to set conditions that keep the average person borrowing. They know once an anchor is in place, it becomes the reference point for all subsequent judgments and decisions. Consider this: when you apply for a loan, the bank may present you with a high interest rate initially. This number acts as an anchor, making any subsequent offers seem more reasonable, even if they're still not in your best interest. You might think you're negotiating a better deal, but the truth is, the bank has already influenced your perception of what a good rate is. This doesn't just happen with interest rates, but with credit card limits, monthly payment plans, and even mortgage terms. To understand just how pervasive this tactic is, let's dive into a study that highlights the real power of anchoring in financial decisions. Researchers conducted an experiment where they presented two groups of people with different anchor points for interest rates on a hypothetical loan. The first group was shown a very high initial rate, while the second group was presented with a much lower one. The results were striking. Even when both groups were eventually offered the same final rate, those who started with the higher anchor were much more likely to accept the offer without negotiation, believing they were getting a better deal compared to the initial rate they saw. This study illuminates how anchoring can lead consumers to accept terms they might otherwise reject. Banks capitalize on this psychological tendency by setting anchors that make their offers seem more attractive than they actually are. This is particularly clever because it relies on subtle manipulation rather than hard pressure, making it harder for consumers to even realize they're being influenced. So, why don't more people recognize this and push back? The problem is that anchoring operates almost invisibly. We're all prone to this bias and often aren't aware when it's happening. Even those who think they're financially savvy can fall victim to these tactics. The initial numbers we see can shape our expectations and decisions, setting a mental trap that's difficult to escape. Consider an everyday example: shopping for a new car. The sticker price of the car is set intentionally high, often way above what the dealer expects to sell it for. This high anchor makes any negotiated price feel like a win, even if the final price is still above the car's value. In the world of loans and credit, the principle is the same, but the stakes are much higher. When people make decisions based on these anchored perceptions, they can end up dealing with unnecessary debt for years, if not decades. But here's a twist. Understanding this tactic is your first step towards freedom. Recognizing how anchoring works can empower you to make better financial decisions. Once you're aware, you can start to spot anchors and question them. When you're presented with a high rate or a large number, pause and consider whether it's setting a false benchmark. Compare offers from multiple sources and look beyond the initial numbers to understand the real cost involved. In the next part of the video, we'll explore strategies that can help you counteract anchoring when negotiating financial deals. We'll also provide insights into breaking free from the debt cycle and achieving the financial freedom you deserve. But first, let's delve deeper into the subtle ways anchoring is applied in our financial lives and how you can spot these tactics in action. Can you imagine breaking free from the chains of debt and finally achieving the financial independence you've dreamed of? Stay tuned, because we're going to show you how to make that dream a reality. Let's bring this concept to life with some real-world examples, illustrating just how powerful the anchoring effect can be in our financial decisions. Imagine you're in the market for a new credit card. The first offer you see boasts a 20% interest rate, but the bank later presents a special offer of 16%. At first glance, this seems like a win, a reduction that feels like a gift. However, the reality is that both rates are high, and the sense of relief at having bargained down distracts from noticing that there could be better alternatives elsewhere. A similar scenario unfolds with mortgage loans. When buying a home, the initial listing price serves as a significant anchor. Buyers often negotiate down from this figure, believing they are securing a better deal. Yet the anchor, the initial price, might have been deliberately set high, making any reduced price feel like a bargain, even if it's still above market value. This psychology not only affects individual buyers, but can also drive market trends, as collective anchoring can inflate prices across the board. Now, let's shift to student loans. Many young adults enter the workforce already burdened with debt, anchored by the initial loan amounts they accepted to finance their education. Years down the line, When these loans are refinanced, the original numbers still loom large, influencing how borrowers perceive any new terms. Even when presented with an opportunity to lower monthly payments, the focus on the reduction obscures the longer repayment period or additional interest paid over time. These real-life situations exemplify how anchoring can quietly guide us into financial commitments that may not serve our best interests. But don't lose hope. There are ways to combat this pervasive influence. The first strategy to counteract anchoring is to arm yourself with information. Before making any major financial decision, conduct thorough research. Compare interest rates, loan terms, and fees from multiple providers. Create your own benchmark based on this data rather than relying solely on the initial figure presented to you. Another effective technique is to question assumptions actively. When faced with a financial offer, ask yourself whether the terms genuinely align with your goals and needs, or if you're being swayed by an initial anchor. Challenge the numbers by considering their long-term implications. For example, a lower interest rate might come with higher fees. Always look at the effective annual cost to get a complete picture. Additionally, practice patience. One of the most powerful tools against anchoring is time. By stepping back and not rushing into decisions, you give yourself a chance to evaluate your options objectively. Use this time to seek advice from financial advisors or those who have successfully navigated similar decisions. A lesser-known but potent approach is to set predetermined goals before entering negotiations. Know what you want to achieve and what you consider to be a reasonable deal. This proactive mindset can help you maintain focus when pressured by anchoring tactics. It's easier to avoid being swayed by an unrealistic initial offer if you've already defined what a fair deal looks like to you. These strategies, while simple, can be transformative in breaking the shackles of anchoring. But what about breaking free from debt itself? The journey towards financial freedom is not without its challenges, yet it starts with a clear understanding of your current financial situation. Begin by making a comprehensive inventory of all your debts, interest rates, and terms. This overview allows you to prioritize payments strategically, focusing first on high-interest debts to reduce the overall financial burden. Debt consolidation is another step worth considering. By combining multiple debts into a single loan with a lower interest rate, you can simplify your payments and potentially reduce costs. However, be mindful of the anchoring effects here too. Ensure that the new loan terms are genuinely beneficial and not just a result of clever marketing. As you work towards financial independence, cultivating a saving mindset is crucial. Develop a habit of saving a portion of your income regularly. This safety net not only provides security but also reduces reliance on credit, thus preventing new debt from accumulating. Over time, consistent saving and mindful spending transform your relationship with money from reactive to proactive. Furthermore, investing in financial education can't be overstated. By understanding the mechanics of interest, inflation, and investment, you empower yourself to make informed decisions that align with your financial goals. Knowledge truly is power, and in this case, it's the power to reclaim control over your financial future. In closing, remember that awareness is your strongest ally against the subtle persuasions of anchoring. By recognizing and questioning the tactics used to influence your financial decisions, you position yourself to make choices that genuinely serve your best interests. Breaking free from debt and achieving financial freedom may seem daunting, but with strategic planning and a clear understanding of financial dynamics, it's entirely within your reach. If you found these insights helpful, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more tips and strategies on wealth building, personal finance, and understanding financial psychology. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's embark on this journey together towards a more secure and prosperous financial future.